What's happening, guys? Kenny back again, and today I've got a first impressions video for you. This is the first one I've done of these in a while, and I figured this knife warranted a first impression video. And it's just a knife that's gotten a lot of hype over the years, and it's kind of like one of those knives that's everybody's grail if you enter the community when they were discontinued, or if they went discontinued when you first got into the community. And even if you've been around for a while, this might be a knife that you wanted to get your hands on. It's gotten a lot of hype from reviewers. There's a few certain reviewers that everyone knows that have pushed this knife and really made it kind of more popular than it was originally. And what I'm talking about today, if you saw the thumbnail and you looked at the title, you know what this is, but it's the Spyderco Slysz Bowie is the knife I'll be talking about. And this is the KnifeJoy exclusive with M390 and anodized handles. Now, first off, I want to talk about Marcin Slysz, who is a designer from Poland, and his first collaboration with Spyderco was the Techno, I believe, and this was his second. And this knife got a lot of praise. It was a really good design, supposedly, that's just very functional. And they became extremely popular, especially after they were discontinued and the prices skyrocketed on the secondary market. This was a knife I never thought I would probably get. I thought I might handle one eventually, but I didn't think I was ever going to get it because the secondary prices were just outrageous and I wasn't going to do it. So I really am excited to get this in hand. I'm really excited to try it out. And this is definitely a keeper. I'm not trying to flip any knives or anything. So those of you that are going to try and make offers for it, really not looking to sell. So yeah, in saying that, I want to get into it. Marcin Slysz, I really do love his designs. And I was really excited to try this one, which was such a popular design. And when I got the knife, I was really impressed, first off, with the anodizing. I thought it was done very well as far as the color and voltage chosen and the finish they finished with. Like, I'm sure they did like a stonewash on the handle before they anodized it. But it really has a nice hue to it, really beautiful. I don't know if the video is going to really do it justice. It's a really classy color and classy look to it. And then of course, they did do a satin finish on the blade, like a ground satin, which the original was a kind of a mirrored stonewash that I really did like, that mirrored stonewash look. But the satin looks nice as well. It's very well done. It's pretty consistent. There's a few spots where the grind might not be as consistent, but that could also be the secondary bevel. But it's pretty well done. The finish looks really nice. And the finish of the knife overall is really well done. Everything lines up nicely. It looks very well done. All the contouring is done beautifully, which is pretty much what you expect from Spyderco's Taiwan factory. They do a very nice job on their finish, and this knife is no exception. So that was very well done. As far as just the knife's functionality out of box, I noticed the detent was nice and strong, very well done detent, so the knife fires out very well. It's very smooth on the phosphor bronze washers that this comes with, and it's very smooth even in the drop. Like, it will drop free. It kind of gets caught there sometimes, but it will drop free, so that was very nice with a very solid lockup, very solid feeling. This knife does have no insert, no lock interface, no insert, and we're at about maybe 50-60% lockup. Very solid lockup, no movement, very solid feeling, and I actually will prefer this over steel lock interfaces, which tend to slip and they get funky. I actually prefer just this right here. The over travel stop is unnecessary in my opinion, and I really just like that. I like that Reeve integral lock, just plain and simple like that. But that's a personal preference for sure, and I know a lot of people think they need a lock interface and all that. I don't find that. I actually prefer this. But very well done. I was very happy with the finish of this knife, with the fit and finish, with the tolerances. Everything seems very well done. We do have pretty much perfectly centered there. The grind is fairly symmetrical. It's pretty well done. That plunge is pretty much dead nut center. Pretty well done. Very even grinds. The rounded spine is very well done. Crowned is the proper term. This crown spine is very well done. Very clean. I did hear something on a video that was out that this jimping was a little more aggressive than the old one because of the whole blade wasn't stonewashed for an extended amount of time. So you end up with just a little bit sharper edges on the jimping. But honestly, I don't find this jimping to be sharp at all. I think it's actually the perfect amount of aggression for jimping if you're going to have jimping. Although I don't really find that jimping is necessary, personally. Yeah, the jimping is very well done and not sharp, in my opinion. The hole, yeah, sometimes these Taichung factory knives have a little bit more aggressive, like sharp edge on the Spidey hole. And this one is no exception. It is a little aggressive, but I actually don't mind it because it helps in that deployment. Really get a good, nice grip purchase on the Spidey hole as you deploy it. So I actually enjoy that it's a little bit more, a little sharper. Not the worst I've had, but not like the Colorado factory ones. Much easier. Now, as far as the size of this knife, I will bring in some size comparisons. Now that I've kind of gone over the initial impressions. Oh yeah, I will say this backspacer, which is G10, and they do have a little bit of jimping here, and I think that is actually perfectly done. It's not super aggressive. It's just the perfect amount of grip on the back of the knife. And then there, if you like to, stab your knife into anything or something like that, it's very nicely done. And the purchase is great on this jimping. I really think it's perfectly done. So that's nice. Now, in saying that, I want to talk about the size. This knife was a little bit smaller than I thought, although, we all see the dimensions, but once you get them, it's always a little different. I will say it's a little smaller than I thought initially, but not that it was that surprising. Right here, I've got a Para 3. This is obviously customized by me. This is the M4 Blade HQ exclusive with dyed scales, which I dyed. Then we've got a Shaman, of course, another modification by me, another Blade HQ exclusive. But yeah, that one is a really good size comparison. Slightly longer, a little bit more purchase if you have extra large hands. The Slysz Bowie can actually be kind of tight here. I'll go over that in a second, but this is a little bit more purchase for your hand, and then you have the front choil if that's your jam. I actually don't need a front finger choil. I think it's unnecessary in a lot of cases, especially with a knife like this. But moving forward, bring a few more. I'm gonna bring some other Slysz, Marcin Slysz designs. This is the Spidey Chef, as you guys probably well know. A very, very similar size knife, although a much different stance of the knife, different, just a totally different outline. And then, of course, the sway back, which is another Marcin Slysz design, and very similar size. His knives all seem to be in that size, except for, of course, the Techno. Yeah, but a knife that I would have never thought I would love as much as I do. But this one is extremely thin and so well done. You can see that right there. This thing is so thin all the way up, that really deep hollow grind, and very functional. I absolutely love this knife. Never would have thought I'd love it as much as I do. Very well done knife. And then, of course, the Spidey Chef, which is just, what a great all-around EDC. Really impressed with the Spidey Chef in general. I love that knife from the beginning, and then the sway back, of course. And I am already falling in love with the the Slysz Bowie, if that's not a, you know, kind of ruining it for you guys. But yeah, I'm really falling in love with it so far. Bringing a few more. This is the Benchmade Griptilian, in case you don't have any of those Spydercos. Very similar size knife. It's right in that mid-size, larger folder. And then, of course, a knife that gets a lot of comparison, actually. This supposedly, the Slysz Bowie was supposed to be like the poor man's Sabinza, supposedly. But this is a Chris Reeve Sabinza. Of course, the 21 with the micarta inlays. And very similar size knife. Get a little bit more blade with the Sabinza. And a little bit more real estate on the handle, of course. In saying that, I'll talk a little bit about that real estate. I have medium to large size hands. My grip is about 4.5 inches across, and you can see that I do have fat fingers, but you can see that I'm pretty much taking advantage of all that real estate here. There's maybe a little bit on the end there, but this knife is pretty much perfect fit for my hand, which means if you have extra large hands, it might be a little bit small for you. It might be a little tight in the grip there, but I find it to be very comfortable. The contouring on the handles is very comfortable. I really enjoy the grip on this, and it is very comfortable to use for my hands personally. And I really enjoyed that about the handle. The contouring really does do well for the grip. Of course, the Spyderco wire clip, this is done by Tai Chung Factory, which some of these I've gotten have been kind of soft. This one is actually a little bit more rigid and a little more tight than some of the other ones I have. And it's a little hard to go in and out of the pocket, especially with the cutaway being there, but nothing I found to be like too hard, you know, too much of a pain. It's pretty comfortable. I love the Spyderco wire clip. It's very functionally sound in my opinion, and I never find any hot spots on it. I think it's very well done, and I've heard people say that these corners can be hot spots, but I've never had an issue with my Spidey Chef or any of my other Spydercos with the wire clip. I really have never had an issue. But this one's a little weaker than that one, but really still pretty rigid there. So really enjoy the clip, and it carries very well. This knife carries nice, really nice in the pocket, and because of the contouring and kind of overall thinness of this, it's thinner than I thought, but it really carries well, and I really enjoyed that. And then as far as the cutting performance goes, it does have a nice full flat grind that goes the whole length of the blade. I mean the whole width of the blade, and it really does slice well. This one does get pretty thin behind the edge. It's not like screaming thin, definitely not like my Swayback, but it's still fairly thin. I would say it's very well done, and it does perform it really well. If I end up doing a height versus reality, I'll pull out the calipers, but this is already probably going to be a little long, so I'll leave this one today. But I'd say that as far as weight goes, I believe it's around 4.5 ounces, and it carries really well at that. You do have, obviously, titanium slabs here, so it's going to be on the heavier side comparatively to like G10 or something like that. But definitely easy to carry, great in use. The everything seems to be done really well with this, and I really don't have much to complain about. If you do, you guys well know that anything that's anodized, anything that's titanium will scratch. You can see I'm already getting use on this thing, and the anodizing is scratching up. Although what I'll probably end up doing is letting it get all scratched up and then anodizing it at a lower, going back into the anodizing with a lower voltage than what they used, and all the scratches will fill in with bronze or something, whatever I can get in there that's lower. This honestly looks like a lower bluish purple. It looks like the low level of blue though, because when you get into the higher blue, it starts to get more steely, almost like, although that might be the higher blue. Now that I think about it, that might be, because it gets more of a silvery kind of look to the blue. But yeah, really nice anodizing, but it will show the wear, so you guys know. That's one thing I'll talk about right now is the finish on the blade. See, that's the stone wash that the original Slysz Bowie came with. And I will say that I do prefer this to that satin, but maybe only slightly. And I know people will complain about maybe this scratching, but I don't find that. I mean, as long as you're not cutting something that, you know, with staples in it or something, it's not going to scratch easily. I've had this for a while now and been using it quite a bit, and you don't see any usage scratches on the blade. So I don't know if that's something people were complaining about, and oops, sorry guys, and why they went to a brushed satin. But sorry, I'm gonna fix that camera real quick. Sorry guys. Yeah, but I really found that this is fine, and it's gonna get used. I don't really care. And this is going to get scratched as well, but I'm not worried about it. But it's well done, and the crowning's done really well. And it's just, they did a really nice job with the grind on this. I can't complain. Although I do prefer that finish. I think it looks a little classier. But yeah. In saying that, this is pretty much what the Slysz Bowie would have looked like originally. So I got a good idea of what I would have been expecting with the original Slysz Bowie. But functionally, I get to try the Slysz Bowie, and I really enjoy it. So very happy to get a use on it, and I'm very happy actually to give you guys some of my, you know, reflecting on this knife in the last 5 days. As far as deployment goes, you can see it's kind of like the Spidey Chef in the sense of you can middle finger flick it, but it's a little tight. So to get a middle finger flick, you kind of got to get your nail in there. And the detint on this is really excellent. So once it does get it, once you do get grip on that, it fires once it releases. Really nice, snappy detent. So very happy with that. You can see even with the, you know, with the left hand, it fires really well. Really well. So I'm really happy with the detent and the action on this this knife. You do have to make sure you get the purchase, because if you just try to really quickly, you know, you might slip off a little. That's also why I like a little bit more aggression on that hole, because it allows you to get that nail in there and really get a good purchase on it. But it's just like the Spidey Chef. So if you have a Spidey Chef, you have a good idea of what kind of access to that Spidey hole you have. And yeah, that's pretty much it on deployment. But really excellent knife. I'm very happy with it so far. I have no intention of selling this knife. I know that the secondary prices already just skyrocketed. I looked on eBay just out of curiosity the next day, and people were doubling the price, which I can talk about fairly quickly. These are retail priced at $3.99, or they were. I'm sorry, they were out of stock within minutes, if not seconds. Now, in saying that, you are getting into that's Sebenza territory, and when people, you know, compare these, I've heard it. YouTubers have said that this was like on the same level as this, essentially. I disagree. I disagree very strongly. And that's why I will say at the price tag of $400, I think that you are not getting the level of knife you will get with a CRK at that price point. Yes, this large Sebenza with micarta inlays, you're talking about, you know, $550, which is another $150. But for the standard Sebenza, I mean, you can get one for $425, and used you'll get one even cheaper. You know, you can get them in the $300 range used. So, and you'll still have a better warranty and a better knife, essentially. You know, better tolerances. You get like essentially, I mean, the size of the washers on the Sebenza and the Inkosi, you know, the washers, the phosphor bronze washers are huge, and they also have the holes for letting the grease fall into and debris. Whereas these washers, you're talking about some pretty small phosphor bronze washers. The action's nice, just like a Sebenza, but not quite as good as the Sebenza for sure. I think the Sebenza definitely has it on action and smoothness, the cloudiness of the Sebenza, just the overall make of the Sebenza. If you are any type of builder or understand tolerances and build quality, you will definitely see the value in the CRK much more so than the Slysz Bowie. This is just not even comparable in my opinion. This is on another level. I do believe personally that the Chris Reeve knives are the top level of production you can get, in my opinion, as far as build quality and attention to detail. I think that Chris Reeve is the top level of production. And this is trying. And at $300, the original was priced at, I think it's a great price. At $400, I think it's out of its realm a little bit. But who can blame them? You look at the aftermarket prices going up into the 600s, 700s. Who can blame them for upping the price to $400? And with how exclusive it was, I get it. But in saying that, I don't regret buying it, but I do say that it's not necessarily worth $400 compared to something like this, or even a Hinder or something like that. So yeah, that's just my opinion, guys. I know I'll probably get some backlash from that and people disagreeing with me, which I really don't care. And I think a lot of people will agree with me that if you have handled both of these, CRK is just on another level comparatively to any Spyderco, honestly, or Benchmade or any of those, anything like that. Even Hinder, in my opinion, I think CRK is on another level. So, again, just my opinion, guys. But overall, I'm extremely happy with this knife. I do plan on keeping it for good. I'm super stoked to check out the M390 from the Taichung factory. I know Spyderco does a decent job with their M390 in general, more so than like any of the like Chinese companies and stuff like that, even American companies that are doing subpar 20CV and M390, including Benchmade, just subpar. So I know that they do try to do their M390 a little harder and a little more towards what M390 needs to be done at to make it worth the upgrade. So I'm, really intrigued to try this out. And they did a really good job on the factory edge. And I've used it quite a bit. Let's see where it's at. Still really sharp, even though I've used it quite a bit. It seems to be done well. And it does have a nice bite to it right from the factory. And it was well done. So let's see if it's still shaving. It was shaving. Oh yeah, it's still shaving. So nicely done. Eager to sharpen it and see how it does in the overall, but pretty impressed so far. So hopefully I'll be doing a hype versus reality eventually on this, but I am really backed up on hype versus realities, and I don't know when I'll be getting to that. So just glad to get a video out on it and let you guys know what I think so far. Again, 5 days with it, and I've carried it every day. So you can tell I really like it, and I'm really enjoying it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it brought you some value. I hope help you make a choice maybe in the future. Supposedly they're going to be bringing these back again with some different varieties maybe, or maybe the same. We'll see. Thank you, KnifeJoy, for making it possible to get one of these after so many years of just pining and people, paying ridiculous prices for them. I do appreciate that they did another iteration of this knife, and I hope they do more in the future. I hope you guys can get your hands on one and check it out without paying ridiculous money for it. And saying that, I hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great, you're having a great 2021 so far. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.